What's up guys, DiecastAviation here, and today I'll be reviewing the Philippine Airlines Boeing 747-400 1-200 scale by Inflight200. This model's registration is RP-C7473, and this model is nicknamed the last flight in commemoration of the last flight of the Philippine Airlines Boeing 747 back in August 30th, 2014. I bought this from Tailwind Diecast International for 6,000 Philippine peso or $116 US. So this model is very sentimental to me because I was able to fly on this twice, back in December 18, 2013 and January 8, 2014. And yeah, this is the first wide-body aircraft that I've ever flown on, and those memories were from my first trip to the US. So yeah, anyways, here you have the box, which is the very typical Inflight200 box. Here it says Boeing 747. You see the Philippines titles, the digital image of the aircraft, the registration, and here it says Inflight200, and you have the item number. And now here are the sides of the box. It's pretty big to fit on camera, but yeah. There you can see it's almost the same thing as the front. And here you have the back, which is just the advertising of their mobile app. So before we get to the model, here you could see that it comes with a coin, which is actually quite heavy than I thought. So again, this is in commemoration of the last flight, so it comes with a very special coin. It also comes with a really nice plastic casing. Yeah, here it says Philippine Airlines. You have a sticker of the aircraft there. Here it says Boeing 747. Here's the back, which as you can see it says Manila to San Francisco PR 104 August 30th 2014, and it says the same thing at the bottom, and there you could see the sticker of the tail and the registration of the aircraft. And we also have a very basic stand. It's gray. Here it says Philippines Boeing 747 and 1-200 scale. So yeah, that's the stand. And finally here we have the model. Let's first take a look on the front of the model, and by taking a closer look, you could see that you have small details over here. You got the cockpit windows, the windshield wipers. It's quite unfortunate that they do not have the nose details over here. And you have the nose landing gear. So here are the 2 out of the 4 General Electric CF6 engines, and they are nicely detailed. The engines does spin, and they also spin if you blow on it. One small detail that they got quite wrong is that if you look closely on the engine cone, it has a spiral marking, but in real life it has a hurricane marking, and here's a photo for reference in real life. And now let's look at the left side of the model. Let's first take a look on the front section of this model, and here you have the cockpit windows, the flight deck emergency escape hatch. You could see the 2 antennas, and 1 antenna is colored in yellow, which is a nice detail. And of course you have the second deck of the 747, and I think this is a pure business class over here. You could also see some 3 of the emergency escape cutouts. Here you have the L1 and L2 door, the Philippines titles. You have some details over here, and here you have the pilot tubes. And over here you have the 2 last digits of the registration on the nose gear door, and you have the nose gear. And you could also see the landing lights on the wing. And over here you have the side view of the engines, and you could see some detail, the lines over here and another detail over here. Moving on, you have the winglet of the 747 with the Philippine Airlines Sunriser logo, and here you have the red navigation light. Over here in the midsection of the model, you have the L3 and L4 door, and you could also see the 2 emergency escape cutouts and the Boeing 747-400 titles. Moving towards the back, you have the registration of the aircraft, and you have the model number of the exact aircraft type, which is the 747-4F6, and you have some numbers below it, which I'm not sure what that is for. And my favorite detail in this model is this, and this I think is the air pressure relief valve, and it really looks very realistic, and again, it's my favorite detail in this model. And here you could also see the L5 door, the Philippine flag, and some details over here. And you could also see antenna at the bottom. And here at the back, of course, you have the very beautiful Philippine Airlines Sunriser logo and some details over here, and some here as well. You have the horizontal stabilizers and the antenna. The right side of the model is basically the same thing as the left side, except here you have the nicely detailed front cargo door and the two back cargo doors. And actually, I still have my boarding passes on my PAL 747 flight, and going to San Francisco I was seated at 87K, which is about here, and going back I was seated on 44H, which is about here. Although this was an aisle seat, but I just switched seats with my dad, so I was seated by the window. And here are the landing gears, which they all roll nice and smoothly, and they're made out of hard rubber, and the nose landing gear of course rotates around. What's quite interesting that this model does not have retractable landing gears, and that's a first for me, and because from what I know, every 1/200 scale model does have retractable landing gears. Well, at least the wide bodies have, except for this one. So I don't know if this is a new thing with Inflight200. And now let's take a look at the top of the model. So taking a closer look in front, you could see the cockpit windows, the flight deck emergency escape hatch, the beacon light, and the two antennas. And moving on to the middle, you could also see the two ADF antenna detail. Here on top of the left wing, you have the registration of the aircraft, and as well as the flaps, spoilers, and aileron details. And lastly, here at the back you have the antenna, the tail, and the top of the horizontal stabilizers, which is also nicely detailed. And now let's take a look at the bottom of the model. So taking a closer look in front, you could see the nose gear door and the nose gear. You could also see antenna and the beige color on the underbelly, which you usually see on most Philippine Airline aircrafts. So moving on, you could see the landing light details over here. You could see some also more details over here, an antenna, the Inflight200 logo, and the beacon light. And over here, you have the main landing gear doors and the main landing gears. You could also see the hole for the stand and the two antennas. And now moving on at the back, you have the two air pressure relief valves, the antenna, the bottom of the horizontal stabilizers, and the APU doors. And lastly, here's the model on the stand. And yeah, that ends the review of this model. I really love this model because this has so much sentimental value to me and by many Filipino collectors out there as well. I never have thought that I will get this model at all, especially in 1/200 scale. And so I really want to thank Inflight200 for making this special model in commemoration of the last PAL 747 flight. And this gives me hope for a new PAL 747 to be released in 1/400 scale in the future. So with that, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow my Instagram, and see you guys next video. Bye.